Hello my beautiful bearded friends. So today we're going to talk about why your beard looks so thin and what you can do about it. If you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification because I'm going to talk about everything that I've learned about growing a beard over the last 2 and a bit years, and I'm going to share my mistakes and everything with you. So please remember to subscribe. Okay, let's look at why your beard looks so thin, and it isn't why you think it does. So a thin beard, I think, is something that a lot of bearded people go through at some point. Now, the thing is that I first sort of started worrying about me and my thin beard, believe it or not, once it started to get a bit longer. And that's because these end bits, I'm not sure you can see it, but you can kind of see through them a little bit. And so even though the majority of my beard looks nice and thick and dark, I'm always worried, or I have been worried in the past, about sort of these end bits and the fact that you can see through it. So let's talk about all of the things why your beard looks thin and what you can do about it, and the tricks that I've learned along the way, trying to get my beard to look as thick and dense as possible. This video is based on an article on Beard Growing Pro, so go check that out. It's a massive article where I go through all of the ways you can increase the thickness or the density of your beard. So go check that out. Type in beardgrowingpro.com, go up to the little search icon thing and just type thin beard and you'll find this article. Okay, let's talk about the first thing about why your beard looks so thin. Okay, so a thin beard really comes down to one thing, and that is beard hair density. So as you're growing out a beard, you'll start to realize that there are some areas that are sort of patchier than others or thinner than others. And so for me up here, you can see that, it's relatively thin, but I've always been able to grow a relatively good chin, mustache, and the cheeks are starting to fill out now. So I also had some issues here sort of on my cheeks, but as the hair's growing, it gets denser, it looks thicker, you can't see my skin through it. And that's really ultimately what we're worried about with a thick, dense beard, is that we don't want to be able to see through it, right? We want a mass that sits on our face, and it really is the kind of thickness and density of that hair that makes it look substantial and the way that we want it. So I'm always looking at ways to increase the density. Now, I don't just mean density in terms of the number of hairs growing on my face per given area. There's not much I can do about that, if I'm absolutely honest. I can take some vitamins, check out my other video on, the best foods to eat. They can help, but they're not going to increase your beard density heaps. I mean, minoxidil kind of can. I've seen some good and bad things about that product, but ultimately, we're talking about beard density in terms of the collection of beard hair in your beard. So even if you have a thin bit, you're like, how do I maximize the number of hairs that sit behind that thin patch? Because that's really what we're talking about. So for example, if you're looking at my beard this way, there is all this chin hair to back it up, so immediately it gets thick and dark. But as you come to the ends, you can see that the density, so this distance here between my two fingers, that gets less. And so you can see that you can kind of see through my beard and I wore a light top especially for this video, so you can kind of see through it. Okay, just a little bit, but here, just where there's sort of hair to back up that front bit, you can't see through it. And so I'm always looking at ways to increase my density. So one of the first things you can do really is, if you've got a long chin but no super long kind of neck hair to back it up, just grow this hair out, or chop your chin hairs, if you don't mind losing a bit of length, chop your chin hairs back so that it's not sort of see-through and that you've got hairs at the back to back up that front bit. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'm always looking at trying to resolve hair density. Now let's talk about length. Okay, hair length is one of those things where it's not actually the longer hair that looks thicker and more dense. It's actually the shorter hair. So I was watching a YouTube video and the barber was saying, well, how about we take off a little bit of length, because the guy had a massive long beard, which looked awesome, but you could see through it because he hadn't grown his neck and chin hair that long to back it up and make it look substantial. So he chopped off some of the length, and the beard instantly looked better because it looked sort of thicker and fuller. So yeah, if you are trying to grow a long beard, there is going to come a point where you can't grow the hairs behind it because, you know, you've only got this kind of column of hair here to kind of to kind of set the thickness. Whereas on your cheeks and on your chin, you've got all of this bit. You know, you can grow out all of this to make it look thick and substantial. And yeah, the longer the beard, the harder it is to make it not look thin, to be perfectly honest. So I've kind of stored my beard at this length because any longer and it starts to look pretty wispy and sort of sparse at the end, whereas I just like a chunky, thick beard that sits on the front of my face. So yeah, if you've got a shorter beard, I think no issue. You can grow out your beard in terms of length to cover up patches, to cover up the sort of thinner areas of hair. But after you get to a long beard, it is just going to look thinner. There's not too much you can do about it. Maybe dye it if it's light, but that's about it. Someone joked on this channel that one of the solutions to all of the issues are wait a little bit longer, and here we are. Here it is again. Beard growing and maintaining a beard. A lot of problems can be solved just by waiting 2 months to 3 months. So if I have an issue and I'm like, you know what, I don't like the way this beard sits, like I went through a growth spurt and growth phase recently, I just let my beard go for 2 months. I did nothing to it other than sort of, keep it nice and clean and sort of trimmed up around the edges. But ultimately, yeah, there's nothing you can do for a lot of these problems, then just wait 2 months. And then at the end of the 2 months, set a calendar reminder, then be like, okay, I'm done. Has it solved the problem? And to be honest with you, a lot of the time, the answer will be yes. So your beard looks thin, maybe because you haven't got the hair density to back up the style that you want. And so one thing that I like about beards is that there are so many varieties of different styles that you can really select a beard style that matches your hair growth. Now, for example, if you've got awesome growth at the front but struggling on the cheeks, you can actually fade the cheeks away and just keep this kind of stuff at the front. Keep it longer, keep the sides skinny, make it look intentional. And if you've got a particularly thin patch, talk to your barber and talk about ways of hiding that but accentuating the things that are great about your beard. Everyone's beard is different. Even if you went in and said, I want this beard, to a barber, they can only work with the hairs you've got. And so, go check out my other videos about how to grow a beard and, trimming a beard, all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, it comes down to choosing a beard style that matches the best bits of your beard. Now, for me, that's my chin and my mustache, so I kind of keep the sides relatively skinny, and I grow it out. Like I said, this is about as long as I want it at the moment, because any longer than this, and it does look thin. So there we are. My beard has kind of dictated the style, rather than the other way around, a style dictating my beard. So choose a beard style, and on the article that this video is based on beardgrowingpro.com, I've got loads. I think I've got 5 or 6 beard style options for you if you have particularly patchy cheeks. So yeah, go check that out. Okay, so the 5th way to make your beard not look so thin is to choose the clothes you're wearing behind that beard carefully. Now, I've purposely chosen a light jumper for this video because you'll notice that you can see through my beard far more than if I was wearing a dark top. And so you can see my fingers behind my beard, but the moment that there's something dark behind it, it looks continuous rather than sort of, thin and you see through a little bit. And so if you're really worried about that, the one thing I would recommend is sort of like choosing darker tops, choosing, navies and grays and blacks rather than whites and yellow in this case, or any bright colors, because it really makes it obvious when you can look through the beard. So yeah, those are the sort of top things, and I'm less conscious about what I wear nowadays, just because I'm happy with the beard. Like I said, I've kind of halted it at this length. But if you're growing your beard or you've got a particularly long beard, you can choose to wear darker tops, or if you've got a blonde beard, lighter tops, just to make it a little bit less of a contrast, I guess, with the background. And yeah, don't worry too much though, because you're the biggest criticism. You're the biggest critic of your beard, and other people really won't notice it. Another thing that I've noticed is that the viewpoint, like when I go mirror beard, like not many people are looking at my beard from exactly the same sort of angle that I am. They're looking at it from the side, they're not looking at it dead on, and so I end up being the biggest judge of the thin parts and all that sort of stuff. But you are also going to judge your beard in quite harsh ways, and I can assure you no one else is doing that. Maybe another bearded person, but if there's another bearded person judging your beard, first of all, shame on them, but secondly, they know the struggle that it is to, wake up every day and be like, how do I make my beard the best possible today? And it changes on day to day. Today I've got beard oil. I will let that soak in for about an hour, and then I've got my DIY beard balm, which has got a strong hold, a lot of wax in it. I actually have to use kind of a little metal thing to get it out and warm it up between my hands. That's another YouTube video I've done. I love this beard balm. It's got a hold, keeps everything together. And that's another thing actually, is if you've got a particularly thin beard, using products to kind of push and hold the hairs together. So products like beard balm that actually hold the hair together instead of it sort of wisping out and being wavy. And it all comes down to what I talked about in the very beginning part of this video, which is, creating that density of hairs, keeping them together. And yeah, so go check out my other video, which is all about my DIY beard balm recipe. And I swear by it, it's perfect. It's much more, it's closer to a wax, but it has got, it's in between like a hardcore wax and a beard balm, somewhere in the middle, but I much prefer it as it's just got much better style, hold, and yeah, and it's super cheap because I make it. There we are. It's not bad, little cheeky tip at the end. So there we have it. There are all the reasons why your beard looks thin and what you can do about it. So let me know in the comments if you've struggled with this and what you've done about it. And if you're a professional barber, are there any little tricks that I've missed out from this video? Let me know, because I'd love to share that with everyone that watches this video. Okay, remember to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the thumbs up if you found this video useful, and I shall see you in the next video.